Hey, Purvi, thank you for coming in today. You just have a marvelous background, contribution, and purposeful leadership, innovation, capital or investments, sustainable business and impact. And it's just amazing what you're doing. So thank you for coming in and sharing your insights with my audience.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for having me. It's also very grateful to be part of this impactful project.
So, Purvi, you've got this remarkable history and you've got an amazing career continuing ahead of you. What were those inflection points in your life that made this wonderful person you are today? And it could have been when you were 3 or 5 years old, maybe when you're older, it could be inside or outside the family, mentors, anything that you can think of, maybe three compelling moments that really shaped you to who you are today.
Yes, I think the very first one goes back to my early childhood. I grew up in countryside in India, so really close to seeing farming, nature, wild animals. And I always assumed that the world is like that, where, the nature. And when I grew up and I got my first job, I went to city and I was like, no, that is not how it is going. Like, this is a very different world. And that was just in my dreams that, okay, everything is going to be like that. And then I would take up these things as a volunteering work, like sustainability, social side. But it's very different when it comes to city. Everything is organized and you have different NGOs and different things. That was the thing. And what happened? The second moment, I would say, during one of those city life only. And in fact, it was not related to me, but by my mom. So she had a banana from the market and she fell sick. And when we went to see doctor said that don't eat banana because it has pesticides. And I'm like, wow. In order to stay healthy, we are not supposed to eat the fruit. So that was also interesting. And I was very curious, like where it is coming from and what are we putting in it? Why don't we know about all these things? That was the second turning point in shaping who am I. I'm like, okay, I like going to the roots. I like digging deep and transparency in the systems. And third thing is basically when I come to the Netherlands, it's my passion for sustainability. Like I quit my high paying job, everything in India, and I'm like, okay, I want to study sustainability. Came here, I thought, okay, that is it. Everything is very set here. That's what Google says. And turns out, same thing. First time I entered in the supermarket, a lot of plastic packaging, a lot of things. I'm like, okay, nowhere in the world it's going as it is being shown. So there is a huge gap in how things are being perceived and told. And that also in that also triggered me like why research is so much like disconnected with the business scenarios. So I have those nature data and research roots in my brain. It's connected from all those kind of stories.
That's really quite fascinating. So you grew up in the countryside of India and you were close to nature and wild animals and farming. And that gave you a sense of organic farming and or just sort of things very natural. And then your mother gets sick from eating a banana and it's due to pesticides, and that kind of woke you up and you thought, oh my God. I mean, you normally think of food as being safe, and then you think, wow, it's not
Yeah.
safe because we're not properly being stewards
Yeah,
of
maybe an apple a day doesn't keep a doctor away.
yeah, and then you end up, later you go to supermarkets and see all these plastics in the Netherlands, and then you realize again that there's this aspect of sustainability that's not happening. That is sort of this oneness with nature and making sure that we honor nature. Uh, Now, you say you grew up in the countryside of India. Were your family were they in agriculture then, or something like that?
No, so my dad was not in agriculture, but my great grandfather was into agriculture. So my dad always mocks me that, oh, maybe you're following the roots of your great grandfather.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so so that's interesting. But when I look at your background, you had an interest in academics as well. So um, what inspired you to do the studies you did? When you were very young, and what were the academic sort of interests that you had?
Oh, wow. That's one of my fondest memories. I very clearly remember. I was in class four, um, and I scored the best in the whole block. So I was the topper in the fourth in that whole district and block. And then media came to interview me, and I was asked the same question, like, what do you want to pursue? Like the forward thinking, right? And I was always inspired by this one businessman, industrialist rather, from India, Ratan Tata. And he was always talking like, in order to create more impact and touch people's life, you have to do business. So I was like, yes, that's what I want to do. Because if you're I also had a thing that maybe I should be a civil servant or something like that, but no, you will always be grounded by rules. But if you pursue business and understand the numbers, you can create more impact. So that's kind of the simple inspiration, but it was deeply rooted.
So you studied accounting then and business and
Yes, so first I studied chartered accountancy. Uh, it's a combination of a lot of subjects. It's a competitive exam in India, actually. It's a really grilling exam, and that gives you the merit to practice on your own as an auditor or as an accountant and work with businesses as consultants, or also you can work with companies as a finance controller. Yeah.
so that means that I mean one of the things is you like numbers, right? Because you feel numbers are don't lie.
Love numbers, they never lie. Yes.
So one of the toughest exams in the world is actually the chartered accountancy program in India, and it's kind of like the IIT of India, but in finance, right?
Ah, that's correct. That's well said. Yes.
So
Yeah.
so you have this. Uh, I mean, you could have gone into the sciences or into the medical area or the legal area, but you had this dream about business because you thought that with business you could have this great impact, and you were
Yeah.
inspired by an industrialist in India and
Yeah.
said that business can allow you to have enormous sort of impact and reverberations and taking that on. You then
Yeah.
got you then went to the Netherlands and you got a master's, right? Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a Master's of Science in Strategic Management focused on sustainability. So I wanted to dive deep into the sustainability strategies and how it can connect to the businesses. So I also had an option to join like very prestigious MBA programs around the world and other basic management studies, like prestigious ones. But like I said, I really love going deep into the subject and I love academics. So I decided to pursue Masters of Science where I can also do my own research. And in fact, when you were saying about not doing engineering and stuff, it's also cliche to say, but I'll say it. Because you're from India, you already have that penchant for technology, right? So I was always in computers. I learned coding like pre-high school, and I was already learning the high school science in my pre-high school times, like double work when teacher was teaching in front, I was having my books for the high school and I was like, science is fun. And I always thought I will always be able to learn these things on my own and implement it. What I need to learn is like the business and financing aspects of it, like the numbers from that perspective. Yeah.
I see. So you kind of follow the tradition as you had this natural ability in the sciences and the math and things like that, and including coding. And and you found that you could just learn that on your own because you have this ability to or capacity to learn on your own. But you
Yeah.
realized that business was the key to the lock of having a sustainable impact. So that's why you went and got your chartered accountancy, which is one of
Yeah.
the toughest exams in the world in India, and then
Yeah, yeah. And it also gives you a prestigious title, and like people respect you when you say, yeah, I'm CA, and then they listen to you for your business advice. So at least during that time, that's how you see. And then it's like, oh, okay, people are listening to the CA and not to the engineer. I'm gonna do CA. It's more like that.
yeah, and then you get your Master's of Science and focus on sustainability from Tilburg University in the Netherlands. And the Netherlands is kind of unusual in a way because they're world leaders in many, many different areas, though the country is not that big. So,
No,
so
no,
that's
it's
kind of like,
crazy. Yeah.
but the Dutch are, I mean, the Dutch are different too. And I say this because I have great friends in the Netherlands, but they always say they're a little bit blunt or very straightforward in their talk. Did you find that at all? Is it a stereotype that's true?
No, that's true. And I actually appreciate it because I have also been, my bringing has been like that as well. Like, get to the point, don't waste time. My mom will always say, like, you know what? If you don't get to the point, you're not only wasting your time, but other people's time as well. So it was quite interesting to see here that people are just super direct at every aspect of life. Even if you go on a date, they're like really direct. When do you have time? Book the calendar. Done. I'm like, wow.
So you get your Master of Science in Strategic Management in the Netherlands. So that's great because it gives you integration with another culture, which will and people with different backgrounds. So it'll give you
Yeah.
a much broader perspective. And then you became a sustainability researcher and consult with a private equity firm. So can you talk about that? What was that like? And for the audience who don't know private equity are, in fact, venture capital is a form of private equity. So
Yeah.
really, private equity encompasses people who invest in sort of companies that are showing growth, which is the way a lot of people think of private equity. But even venture capital is a kind of private equity, except it takes or invests earlier and earlier stage companies. So can
Yeah,
you talk
that's
about
true.
that private equity experience and why did you decide to initially work with a private equity company?
Yeah, sure. So that also happened because I was representing university for the sustainability they have the sustainability team every university in the Netherlands, and I was part of the Tilburg University sustainability team. And this private equity firm comes with a problem statement that, hey, we want to, inculcate sustainability into the core business value. So I did it as a project as a student. And then I believe that they liked it. So they came back to me and then they offered me a role like, hey, we'd love to implement you. And then that was a role created to implement those things. And that was a very fantastic opportunity to connect all my love AI. So I was like connecting the AI with the sustainability research and with the business impact of it. So we were, working on the proprietary modeling, how we can layer the investment opportunities with the sustainable KPI so that we attract all the impact investments and the impact funds, and we show down the line in future years, like, okay, this is how you're impacting, like your finance is impacting the planet, like at all three levels we were working, it was focused at the real estate side of it. So we were focusing on early stage real estate investments. Um, and we were doing forecasts for the next 10 years, 50 years. So that was, I think that was like one of the best experiences to implement all my love and all my studies over there. So no way I could have not taken it. It also gave me a lot of confidence that yes, you can connect all these three dots and it is going to create an impact and create a fund. So economic value is also there.
Yeah, and then your studies as a CA in India, which is one of the most difficult in the world, together with your master's in sustainability and strategic management, would have been very useful in the private equity area.
Yes, yes,
Just
very
about the
much.
difference.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I was working as a sustainability researcher, but I was developing the methods and KPIs for the models, right? And that requires a lot of number crunching as well. So and that and but because you're working in a private equity business, right? So end of the result, you have to show the return on investment. Like, okay, fine, all the environmental factors check, social factors check, but what about the economic factors? So I was also working on this concept of triple bottom line, that you see all the three impacts with the investments or the projects that you do.
and then you were fortunate to win the Tilburg University Challenge. So can you talk about that challenge?
Yes, that's a basically here in the Netherlands. It's every university annually organizes this startup challenge that a lot of startups have an opportunity through this. I think it's a 6 months, 4 to 6 months of process that they filter startups out, and then the finalists go on stage and pitch for the whole university, and it's a big event, and we get a lot of visibility as well. So for me, that thing happened as a chance, because I was not really planning to start a startup or anything. I was just working on my own calculations for my own grocery shopping. But one volunteer from the startup challenge was like, why don't you, do this and just participate, register for the challenge? I was like, yeah, sure. I anyway love learning new things. I might as well just get some extra learnings and meet some interesting people and businessmen. But it's just one after the other, ended up into the next round. I was like, okay, this is the last round. I know I'm out of this. I'm out of this. But ended up winning the challenge. So that was like really, really, really interesting moment in my life. Yeah.
Just a really fascinating background. I mean, you were in this Stanford Ignite program and selected for this program with a scholarship. So can you talk about Stanford Ignite now? And you chose to continue on-ground research in food and agriculture in India, but you had this offer. What is this Ignite program and the fact that you were selected? How did that happen?
Oh, so yeah, my brain is always flooded with a lot of ideas. It's crazy. It's like always thinking opportunities and directions. So I always had many ideas written in my diary. So when this idea is, so basically a Stanford Ignite program is like the startup MBA. They choose the best ideas, and then they have them in a class, and then they guide them throughout to basically put into the market. And Stanford has a very big name in terms of startups and businesses, right? So I was like, I'm gonna apply there. Let's see, to test my idea out. Like I said, just for fun. A lot of things I do is for fun, not really because it's my aim, that I need that tag or anything like that. But there also, I got selected, and then they also offered scholarship that, hey, we would like to also give some compensation. But then I thought, of course, it's nice. I can go there. It will give me a good tag and everything. I still felt I should stay connected with the problem and the roots for a longer time. Like I was just, I think 22, 23 when I was offered this thing. Like the same idea with some robotics involved in the kitchen area. So basically healthy, sustainable cooking, not by the people, but by the robots, something like that. But I thought, let me stay grounded to the farmers and the roots and create that strong, and then I can always go up. So I decided not to take that.
I mean, you're right. I mean, Stanford actually ranks number one in the world in many areas, but also in the number of founders that have graduated from Stanford. It ranks number one. Let's see, Stanford's number one. I think Harvard's number two. I think
Yeah,
MIT's number three, something like
MIT is number 3. Yeah, that's correct. It keeps changing a bit, but more or less like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Berkeley's up there as well as one of the top. They're in the top five, anyways.
Yeah.
Berkeley, Harvard, MIT,
Yeah, it was
Stanford.
not easy to say no, huh? My dad was like, "What are you doing? What do you want to do?" I'm like,
Yeah, not to
"Trust."
mention Stanford also has John Hennessy, and John Hennessy was 16 years the president of Stanford. He's now president emeritus, and he's the chair of Alphabet Corporation, and he's a really successful
Yeah,
entrepreneur. I think he's founded or invested in over 100 companies, many unicorns, and was the first independent board member of Google. That's why he's now the chair of Alphabet Corporation. And he's
yeah,
got the Turing Award, which is the Nobel Prize in Computing Science from the ACM, Association for Computing Machinery. So kind of a remarkable school. And then they have that $750 million Knight Hennessy Scholarship Program as well. So I think it's the world's biggest leadership scholarship program. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I could see why your dad would say, "Hey, are you sure?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. But I think sometimes I felt like it's okay to take some strong swaps if you really believe it will make a, if you really believe you got this, basically. Yeah.
But you've been selected to present at various international forums, global platform pitches. We talked about you won this University Startup Challenge winner. Um, and this is like something I thought was really interesting. You won the Provincie competition in the Netherlands for AI innovation. Is that the one connected with Tilburg, or is that something else?
It's connected with the southern part of the Netherlands, so not just Tilburg, but more provincie as well. It's called Midpoint Brabant, basically the south of the Brabant, and they had a AI challenge late last year. So basically, yeah, we pitched there and we got a good prize money from.
Yeah, I mean, you won it, right? So that's pretty good. And so that ties in. So just naturally, you're great at computer science and you're great at mathematics and the sciences, and you learn those things on your own because you're just naturally great at it.
Yeah, and I'm also fortunate to now have a data scientist with me as well in the team. So it's like I can then focus more on building the climate models and other things. And now we work as a team, so that makes things move very fast.
Yeah, but you developed KISS, this Keep It Smart and Sustainable model, right? As proprietary system to automate the farm to form journey, enhancing efficiency and sustainability in agriculture. You developed that. That's pretty good.
Yeah, so that was like as a student, yeah. So it was like during those challenge times and everything, yes. So let's say they have a concept of developing MVP. So I did develop the MVP and all. And like I said, because now I have a team, so it's all like more structured and nice. And we are also part of the Microsoft Founders Hub. So we are also sponsored by Microsoft. We have good amount of credits and sponsorships from them. So, and also we get the expert advice. So it's like always learning, learning, learning. I never thought I'd learn how to deploy it in Azure, but 1 week I had to do that. So yeah.
The Microsoft Startup Founders Hub also has a Pegasus program. So I just interviewed Sally Ann Frank. If you search online, you'll see me a LinkedIn post where I interviewed her, and she heads up their worldwide. She's the worldwide lead for Microsoft in the health and life sciences area of the Microsoft for Startups, of which the Microsoft Startup Founders Hub is a part of it.
Mhm.
But she indicated in the interview they have something called the Pegasus program. So the Pegasus program is where they analyze all of the startups that are part of their program, and about under 1% or something. So behind the scenes, these managers are looking, and
That's nice to know.
yeah, and so you want to target that, see if you can get into the Pegasus program, but it's based on performance. You got to show that you're performing, right?
Yeah. But
And
that's good
then
to know. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
and
gonna
then
target that.
they
Mhm.
take a they take a they Microsoft take a personal interest right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah. We were also invited, like I was invited in Berlin last year, but that was like literally the start of the whole company and everything. And it invited to talk about the uh, impact startups and how they can help corporates and at their office in Microsoft. So they also said that once it's all like done in a way, because we have phases in the founders hub, right? Then we can also sell it through their platform because it's a SaaS. So that would also be interesting for us, but we have to see if we want to do it or not. Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting if you get the Pegasus appointment, and so they're monitoring the startups within the overall program, and then if you become selected into the Pegasus program, then you get much more.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they call it, it's their unicorn builder. So
Okay,
get
wow.
into, yeah, if you get into that program, then they think you've got a shot of being in.
I'm gonna mail the people. Thank you for letting me know that. Like,
Yeah, it's called the Pegasus program. And what you can do is search for my name and Sally Ann Frank online.
hmm
And I posted it in LinkedIn and in Twitter or X, right? And you could what you can do is you can tag her. So do a comment to the post and tag Sally Ann and say, "Hey, I'm actually part of the Microsoft Startups program," or something.
yeah, that's a good idea. Yes, I think I am gonna do that. Yeah.
People was talking about you. You could even say that. I just did an interview.
Yeah.
Even he was talking about how great this Microsoft startup, and by the way, happened to be in the program, right? So there,
Yeah, it's not coincidence, right? It's not coincidence.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't know you're because I'm actually on the behind side, right? So once you get in, then you can select advisors and mentors and that. So I'm
Yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm in
Oh, that's nice.
that.
Okay, okay, great. I'm gonna find you there as well then. Yeah.
So, in your background, you also got into being the financial controller or doing finance controlling and business deal structuring for one of the largest technology firms. So you really got an idea on the finance side in IT in an IT company and
Yeah.
realizing all of those aspects, and that would increase your technology acumen. Can you talk about the time you did there?
Yeah, of course. So it was after I finished my chartered accountancy. I worked in Wipro from head office in Bangalore, and Wipro, and I was handling the European deals. And basically, it gave me very good hands-on experience on how to structure deals and how to assign roles and develop the SaaS, enterprise SaaS for the businesses and how it's adding value and how crazy the market is, basically it's worth billions and trillions of euros, right? And also how crazy the market gap is. Even though you do like a lot of things, but you see that monopoly lies with certain, like, okay, this moduling, it's by SAP. If it's this thing, it's by Oracle, like so on and so forth. So it means there's like a lot of gap. And then I could already see like a lot of startups will come up and will try to challenge all those aspects of it. And it also, again, because I love technology, again gave me hands-on experience to sit with the tech people and ask those questions of why, what's, how, and how we are adding value to the clients, not just what does it do as a product itself. But I think one of the major question to put a number that how much can we charge for this is to first understand how much value you're providing it to the customer, right? So I think that was a very good learning for me during those times. Yeah.
I mean, you'd be pretty young, but did you ever get a chance to talk to the CEO of the company or things like that? Oh, you did?
Yes, yeah, because I was working from the head office, right? So I was, let's say, in this building, and Mr. Azim Premji was in the adjacent building there. So a lot of time you will be so the chairperson during that time, and now his son, Mr. Rishad Premji. So with him, I have had a conversation, and in fact, I was to join his team. I was offered to join his team of M&A as well. But again, I made some decisions and I was like, no, I'm gonna join the business team because I want to go back to the, not go back, I want to understand the roots, like, okay, how we are like structuring the deals and how we're structuring the services. So yeah. And now he's the chairman of the company.
And you know him personally, so that's great.
Yeah, like not know him personally, but I have met him and like yeah, and we had one deal that he was also supervising one I can't of course reveal, but yeah, let's say one deal which was important for the company strategically. He was supervising that, and I was handling the finance side of it. So, yeah.
I mean, that's great. I mean, you've had a lot of opportunity to learn from some of the greats in the industry, right? Or people who have a
Oh
tremendous.
yeah, yeah. It's like so amazing. You see, like you spend so much time during initial times of your work. I don't know how it was for you, but for me, I can like relate. One of the things is like how to write a good email. You'll spend so much time in thinking if you're writing to this person, that person, and then you see the mail from such leaders, and you're like amazed. That's how you write 2 lines, and you get all the things done. Wow. So.
Okay, so I'm going to just do a bit of a summary then. I mean, and then I'll get into your startup itself. So what I'm hearing from you, you were inspired by growing up with organic vegetables sourced daily, and you have this deep appreciation, and then your mother gets ill from eating a banana, and that sort of wakens you to pesticides and things like that. And then you, when you get to cities, you find about plastics and all of these other things that are kind of very counter to your organic experience. But during that time, you had this love for numbers and science and computing, and you found you could do this all on your own. And you were inspired by one of the big famous industrialists in India who said, you know, the key to the future is business, having a understanding of
Yeah,
business.
create an impact. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you decided to then study accounting, which is really difficult in India, and to become a chartered accountant in India, which is one of the most difficult programs in the world. And then you then did your master's in um, management science, but also sustainability in the Netherlands. But during that time, you were kind of engaged with all of these projects. You did this karmic credits project to prevent food waste.
Oh yeah, the karma credits. Yeah, yeah, that was a very fun one. And I, in fact, I then the first person I pitched this to one of my really good friends and classmates, and I was like, "Hey, look, I want to do this. Should we do it?" And like, yes. And then we ended up saving so many food waste from that building, like kilograms and kilograms of every day. And that was also quite challenging because then COVID hit, and people were a bit concerned. The authorities were a bit concerned. Hey, you don't have the registrations and all. And once they also took away all of our furniture and everything that we set up. So we did it different in a way that you should not feel that you're buying someone's discarded fruits or vegetables, right? You should feel you're rescuing the waste. So we gave them title as rescuers. And then you should feel like you're donating something. So you're a donor. So if you have extra something, you're going on a holiday or weekend, you have something in your fridge, please don't throw. Put it here and you're like donor. And we kept it strategically at the passage in the student building so that the everyone who's going to shopping or throwing the waste are going to cross that area. So they'll at least come and stop. And we kept a coffee tumbler so that if not that, coffee can stop and then they can look, oh, okay, maybe I can pick a banana from here. I need not go to the groceries. Good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, you're able to provide the context and the narrative that'll make it compelling. And during this journey, of course, you got invited to the Stanford Ignite program, and Stanford definitely is ranked #1 in the world in the creation of founders. And yet, you were selected because of the work you're doing and the innovation that you inspire. And in fact, you were even offered a scholarship into the program. And you know, you were a University Startup Challenge winner, global platform pitches, AI Challenge winner. um, You end up,
Very flattering when you like say so many things, but
yeah,
honestly, what I'm doing is like I'm really on an endless journey to make people aware and unlock the data so that it's available to every person on this earth. So it's just a journey for me. I don't see these as achievements, to be very honest.
but there are lessons every time you take on these roles, and then there are lessons, and then when you get recognized, it shows that you learn the lesson well, right? So it's like a measure.
Oh,
It's a
that's a good
metric,
perspective to it. Wow. Okay,
right?
I'm gonna note that down. That's a good perspective. Yeah.
And then you were, sustainability research and consultant for a private equity firm, and again, they recognize your ability to develop narratives and do the analysis that made sense, and you became finance control and business deal structuring with WIPO, which is really a really famous company. In fact, you were even asked to be part of the M&A team to do the finance part. But behind all of this journey, together with earlier developing this keep it smart and sustainable model, this proprietary system, you've always had this entrepreneurship interest, right? And thus you founded and became CEO of Yopla. So can you talk about Yopla? What is Yopla? And am
Yeah.
I pronouncing it right?
Sorry? Yeah, you're pronouncing it right. Yeah, it's like some say Yopla, some say Yopla. It's like every pronunciation is right. That's the thing. It's a fun word. So basically, if in one line, it's a climate tech smart SaaS for food businesses. And if I have to elaborate, think of it as an SAP for the whole food climate management end to end. So basically, we decipher the whole farm to fork journey in terms of how much impact it's creating, like how much energy it's using, how much of carbon emissions it's being generated, how much of water footprint, so on and so forth. So that, because at every stage of the life cycle of food, you have choices and decisions, but you're not aware of the impact of it. Take a very simple example. As a consumer, when you go to the supermarket, you see there is soya milk, there is almond milk. Which milk to buy? I don't know. Right now you see Nutri-Score, maybe you make some decisions basis that, you read the labels, but how much is the environment impact of it? And does it also ultimately impact your health? So then connect those things backwards. So like farmers has questions like which pesticides to put, how much, organic, non-organic, which crop. Manufacturers, same thing, the ingredient ratio, the type of packaging, so on and so forth. The food services with how the recipe should evolve and what should be the ingredient, where should we source the ingredients from. Like, oh, strawberry pies during season is very good. It's tasty, it's nutritious, and it's also very sustainable. But maybe if you're selling strawberry pies off season, it's 5 times more impact. So can you like switch it to, I don't know, like apple pie or something more local? So yeah. And this is a lot of decisions, right? And what we are doing is we're really automating all these decisions, making it fun with a bit of a gamification so that it is also sexy. So we want to make the impact in a sexy manner by making the food businesses at the climate pioneers, right? Because when we talk about climate change, we think, oh, Tesla, Elon Musk is going to save the world, or things like that. No, electric car. I'm going to drive electric car, I'm going to save the world. But food is the largest contributor of climate change and biodiversity loss, right? And it's also largely impacted because of the climate change. You never know, in future we might have no chocolates, right? Or it will be super expensive. But the problem is, food people are simple people. They only know how to make it taste good and what to eat, what not to eat. They know how to cut onions, as they say. We don't know how to cut emissions. So we are here to help them in their journey, and which is also easy to understand for them. So hence our model and SaaS.
So you were incubated at IQ
Iconic.
Iconic. Iconic. Okay. And then
Yes.
Dad's at the Netherlands. Can you talk about Iconic? What is Iconic and what is
Yeah.
Jazz?
Yeah, we are also incubated in Rabobank in the Netherlands, but Iconic is the accelerator incubation. from Tilburg University. Yachts, it's from Yachts Playground, basically the name. It's from the Yachts University. It's a data science, it's one of the best data science universities of the world. And because we're like all data, so it was also very important to tap those resources. Then we're also part of the Rabobank of the Jump Food Accelerator program. And Rabobank is also one of the, I don't know if you have heard about it. It's one of the global leaders in, it's basically they call themselves as food bank. So global leaders in dealing with food businesses and food companies. They have a lot of resources over there. And yeah.
I mean, is your company then your startup, and you've been incubated through these two entities in the Netherlands, but also through Germany. And how big is your team? I mean,
it's a small team, 6 people, but we do keep having a lot of students that knock our door and they're like, hey, we want to work with you. And then on and off, we onboard students, like 4, 5, a team of 4, 5 students, and then we give them a problem statement, they work on it. So on an average, we're always around 10, but yeah, our core team is around 6. Yeah.
And are you pre-revenue, or do you have revenue already? What's your
we have revenue. Yeah, we started having revenue from in fact we'll start sending out the invoices from the coming quarter. Yeah.
So that's great. So what are your plans then? What are your growth plans for Yopla?
Oh, that's also an interesting one. So growth plans is a lot of projects, a lot of impact numbers that we want to show. In fact, today also I was just done with delivering for one of the caterers here in Eindhoven. So in the next 1 year, we want to tap a lot of farmers and food services in Netherlands, Germany, and we also have a bit in Finland and France, but basically this West Europe. And team expansion. I think now we have a lot of leads, like we have over 500 leads with us. We pick one, we are also a bit cherry picking in the leads, but we pick like one by one and we try to implement and see the impact ourselves and like test the models. So team expansion is the second thing. And then we will also go for the fundraising like end of this year or early next year. Yeah.
So how do different stakeholders engage, and what kind of value do they get from Yopla? So let's say I'm a farmer, or I'm a distributor, or I'm a food processor, or is there some kind of consumer element? How are the different sort of chains within the world regards to food? How do they benefit by Yopla?
So I'll keep it very simple. It's the 3 points. Basically, first is the whole world is talking about going towards net zero, right? So these businesses have also need to take actions towards net zero and reduce their footprint. So we help them in building a journey towards net zero, right? Second is there is a very strong stakeholder push by them that people are very conscious, like conscious consumers, conscious stakeholder, both at consumer level and business level. So think of a caterer who is serving in one of the big companies. Okay, I can't name both of them, but okay, they are catering in one of the big companies. And because this company wants a sustainability catering, then that catering needs to show the sustainability efforts that they are taking. So stakeholder push because they want to know where the food is coming from, so on and so forth, like so many pointers, right? And third thing is the new regulations and the policies that are coming up in terms of sustainability, such as ESG reporting, CSRD. So we help them in reporting and getting those numbers audited so that they are future ready and they don't end up incurring heavy costs, like the backlash costs, let's say. And for the second point, they're actually able to charge premium on their products or be able to charge happily something that they are making effort of. So, for example, one of the farmers, we visited the farm and he is doing amazing work in preventing some local carrots from the Netherlands. So, like some local fruits and vegetables, and it's an expensive deal, right? So, we want to show to the world, like, look, this is the amount of effort and this is how the numbers are. So, why don't you prefer to buy this than other things? And then he's also motivated to keep soil healthy, right? Ultimately save the world.
I mean, it's such a perfect fit for the AI for Good. AI for Good is the world's largest sustainability solutions program today, right?
Yeah.
Out of Geneva, and UNITU is the host of that program. But it's multifaceted. But they have something called the Innovation Factory. Have you applied for that Innovation Factory?
No, so unfortunately, I came to know for about AI for good very late. That's unfortunate. Otherwise, I would have applied. And I don't know if we can still apply. I would love to apply. Yeah. In fact, we are working with one of the startups who was the early winners of AI for good. It's called Chakra or something. I think 2 years back they won from India only. So we are also having projects in India from coming upcoming quarter. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so they run regular pitch contests. So you just apply, and
Oh,
then there's
okay.
winners of the regular pitch contests every,
Okay.
and it's a live global event. And then some of the winners of the pitch contest throughout the year then go into the grand finale where they choose an ultimate big winner. So there's that. There's the World Food Program. They have something called the Innovation Accelerator. It's an open platform, meaning anybody can apply to see if you can get support from their program.
Okay.
There's a number of these programs that there's the Earthshot Prize out of the UK, so that'd be worth seeing if you can get some notice from them. Maybe the Time 100 programs,
Oh,
so ones that you could research. And I mean, you were introduced by a friend in the YPO community, so
yeah.
uh, if maintaining that content, there's a lot of impact people within the YPO community. YPO being this community of CEOs and business leaders. So, I mean, I'll call those sort of um, more easily attainable ones, but also, as I mentioned, see if you can get some notice of the Pegasus program within Microsoft, right?
Yes, I think, yeah, that would be a good one. So Pegasus, and also I'm going to look for all the challenges or the pitch opportunities that we have for AI for good. Yeah. So you're
Yeah,
saying they're ongoing, right? So we can like
yeah,
just
they're
apply.
ongoing and they're live events, and normally it's like 4 to 6 companies are chosen to pitch at the live event, and then the
Okay,
judge them live to see who wins. And then
nice.
out of that set, the winners, some of them get selected to the grand finale. And then at the grand finale, they choose the winner for the year. So, yeah, that I mean, you'd qualify because you're definitely into sustainability, right?
Yeah.
So, it's really interesting your journey, and thank you for sharing so much. Now, I only have one question, and one final question. The one final question is, well, or before I go to my final question, I should mention that I anybody who hears this interview should attend AI for Good in Geneva. It's held once a year, but they have this free program called the Neural Network Platform that you can join and connect with others. That's ongoing. They have daily programming, basically. They have all these solution focus groups and so on. And then they have this annual summit, which really is an amazing peer-to-peer get together. You're going to be there.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
going to be there. So just
Yeah.
make the audience aware that it's just an amazing program. Now, keep in mind, all of this AI for good that you see around the world, that actually started with this UN ITU hosted event, though it was never trademarked. So that's why you see this proliferation of other people using that. theme,
Mm.
I forget, but really came from this original summit and all the programs they run. And so that's just kind of a segue to now to you, back to you. Now, what are your recommendations to the audience? Or maybe questions you want to pose to the audience, or go to action items for the audience?
Oh, wow. Who do you think are gonna be my audience right now? Like businesses, consumers,
Now, my
both?
audience is pretty broad. So the interview is syndicated across all of these tech organizations, right? So um, but they have the right to refuse, right? So, but
Yeah.
ACM, which is number one in computing science, IEEE, TEMS, which is number one in technology engineering, KIPS out of Canada, which is the Canadian sort of Association of IT. It's the oldest, the original one.
Yeah.
Um, IFIP is targeted for some of this. IFIP is a federation of IT organizations. There's the brand called You, which is actually founded by a really famous entrepreneur out of India, Ashutosh Garg. In fact, he's written books, bestsellers. He's on all of the top sort of media in India, and he created this platform called the brand called You. So this will appear there. So the one interview gets syndicated across all of these platforms. So and then I'll do a social media post. So when I do a social media post and I analyze who the audience is, it's usually in this order: founder,
Mm-hmm.
CEO, co-founder, board member, president, and then I'll get like managing partners of investment groups and things like that. And then I'll have professors and developers and experts. But really, typically the top five are executives, CXOs of some sort. And
Wow.
because I'm a technology person, I would
Mm-hmm.
imagine the majority of them have some kind of technology bent, right?
Yes, that's good. That's a very great and a very broad audience. That's amazing. So I think I'll also keep my question a bit broad, but also a bit intriguing, in line with what I said earlier as well, right? And it goes as, how can we make food businesses as the climate pioneers in saving both like planet's health and our health together? So I'm very curious to, and please feel free to, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but feel free to, uh, ping me on LinkedIn or write me an email with your thoughts, ideas. Very curious to think along.
That's a great question, and there's a really great investor, and she's written a book called Integral Investing, which is available from Springer and I believe from the Club of Rome. Her name is Mariana Bosan, and
Okay.
what you're doing probably would interest her. So I did a LinkedIn post, or maybe I haven't done it yet. My interview with her, but definitely worth maybe reaching out or tagging her in some way.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. Mariana.
Yeah, Mariana Bosan. And if I haven't done a LinkedIn post, then if I do one, then I'll tag you in my LinkedIn post. But
Yes,
she'd be
yeah,
probably
yes.
one that, if you can get her interest, it'd be very
Yep.
positive. It'd be a win-win. I call it or a friend of mine, Mark Sadovnik, calls it an omni-win. So it'd be an omni-win. So I have to give him credit. That's his term, omni-win. But it'd be an omni-win. But anyways, Purvi, thank you for coming in and sharing your insights. You doing amazing work. You got an amazing background, and I see great things for you in the future. I mean, maybe you'd be the first global leader, you know,
That's
as the world
very
unites, hopefully.
lovely to hear that. Hopefully, a leader in creating the impact from what you're eating. But thank you so much for having me. It was super lovely talking to you, and lovely to have those suggestions also in the talk. That's very helpful. And love how you're creating this whole community and combining all the leaders and entrepreneurs around the impact space. towards better health of the planet. It's very inspiring. Thank you.
And thank you. So, and we'll see you at AI for Good.
Yes, I'll see you there. Yeah.
It's
Take
like
care.
under 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. It's sooner than you think. Yes. Yeah. Bye. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.